The answer is yes, it's an unqualified yes. It would be a shame if we were at a point where addressing serious concerns of New Yorkers was not given the highest priority. Recognizing that, okay, these are challenging things, but that affordability is a crisis and he is determined to address it. It was clear in the campaign and it was clear in every conversation I had with him that Mamdani had an ambitious agenda, an aggressive agenda, but he intended to achieve it, and that what was so appealing. That's why I'm so happy to be joining this administration and to be part of a team that's gonna deliver on this program.
Did you hear that statement from Din Fuleihan? I wonder if there's a way to analyze those statements based on linguistics. Oh wait, there is. In systemic functional linguistics, transitivity is a key part of the auditional metafunctions, explaining how language represents experience and reality. Every course is built from these three elements: processes, participants, and circumstances, which together shows how events and ideas are framed. By examining these types of processes used in a text, especially in public or political discourse, we can see how meaning is emphasized, shaped, and strategically presented to influence interpretation. Among the 6 process types, mental processes are especially important because they are revealed in experiences such as thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. In political statements, these processes often signal a speaker's stance or evaluation. This is evident in Din Fuleihan's response to the elections of New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani, where hopeful mental process highlights his attitude toward Mamdani's agenda. The statement invites public debate about its sincerity and underlying messages, while transitivity analysis helps uncover the psychological and ideological positioning embedded in the speaker's words.
In this research, our main objective is to examine how political meaning is constructed through language, specifically through mental process in Din Fuleihan's public statement about Zohran Mamdani agenda. First of all, we aim to identify clauses that contain mental processes, such as processing of thinking, perceiving, feeling, and evaluating. These processes are important because they show how Fuleihan positions himself cognitively and emotionally toward the political agenda. Second, we analyze the participant involved in this mental process, focusing on the roles of sensor and phenomenon. These steps help us understand who is experiencing the mental process and what is being experienced or evaluated. Third, we classify the circumstantial elements that accompany these mental processes, including circumstances of time, conditions, source, and scope. These elements provide a contextual support and help strengthen the interpretation of Fuleihan's text. Finally, by combining process types, participants, and circumstantial elements, we interpret how transitivity patterns construct Fuleihan's political stance and contribute to broader political meaning in the discourse.
Thank you, Tessa. Now I will explain the methods used in this study. For the data, we use a segment of Din Fuleihan's public statement taken from an article published by The Nation. The theoretical framework used in this study is the transitivity system from systematic functional linguistics. This framework helps us analyze how experience and meaning are represented through language, especially through mental processes. The analysis is conducted in several steps. First, we do clauses chunking, where the text is broken down into individual clauses. Second, we identify the process types with a focus on mental processes. Third, we analyze the participants, especially the roles of sensor and phenomenon. Fourth, we classify the circumstances that provide additional context such as reason or condition. Finally, we interpret how this linguistic choice contribute to political meaning in the text. Overall, the study used a qualitative, descriptive, interpretive approach because the goal is to describe and interpret meaning, not to measure it statistically. That's all from me for the method section. I'll hand it back to Tessa. Thank you.
Based on the analysis, the finding shows that the Fuleihan statement is strongly dominated by mental processes rather than material or physical actions. This dominance is significant because it framed his political support as a result of internal reasoning, perception, and emotional judgment, instead of presenting it as a purely administrative or strategic decision. Cognitive mental processes such as recognizing and ethos clear position Fuleihan as a rational informed political actor. This expression suggests that his intent is based on careful observation, repeated interaction, and long-term understanding, rather than sudden or impulsive judgment. In addition to cognition, affective mental processes play an important role in the discourse. Words such as shame, appealing, and happy indicate emotional involvement and more concern. This emotional dimension suggests that Fuleihan is not only intellectually convinced but also personally committed to the agenda being discussed. Furthermore, perception-based experience, especially the repeated use of clear, function to strengthen credibility. They imply that Fuleihan's support is grounded in direct experience, such as conversations and campaign involved, which makes his political endorsement appear more legitimate and trustworthy. Overall, this transitivity choice constructs a political image of Fuleihan as a thoughtful, emotionally engaged, and more aware political actor. His support for Zohran Mamdani agenda is therefore represented as reasonable, informed, and ethically motivated, showing how transitivity as a rhetorical tool in shaping political meaning.
That's a fair explanation. Now, in this part, allow me to explain our findings on the transitivity analysis of Dean Fuleihan's statement. Our analysis shows that his statement is dominated by mental processes, which focus on thinking, feeling, and evaluation, rather than on objective or factual reporting. This can be seen through the use of verbs such as recognizing, clear, appealing, and happy. These verbs do not describe physical actions. Instead, they reflect the speaker's cognitive and emotional responses. In other words, Fuleihan's political support is presented as the result of personal judgment and emotional involvement rather than a purely rational or data-driven decision. While grammatically, this pattern works to guide readers and listeners toward a positive interpretation of Zohran Mamdani's agenda. The audience is encouraged to see that the support emerges naturally because Mamdani's ideas are portrayed as clear, attractive, and worthy of approval. Therefore, transitivity in the statement functions not only as a grammatical feature, but also serves as a rhetorical tool that helps to shape political meaning and influences audience perception. I think that's all from me. For the next part, will be discussed by Sauqi. Thank you.
In conclusion, this study examines the transitivity system in systemic functional linguistics by focusing on mental processes in Dean Fuleihan's statement regarding Zohran Mamdani's agenda, showing how linguistic choices in political discourse construct meaning, evaluation, and psychological stance. Through the analysis of cognition, affection, perception, and desire, the study reveals how Fuleihan's statement conveys recognition of existing challenges, a positive evaluation of Mamdani's policies, and an international commitment to support his administration, while also demonstrating that mental process functions not only as grammatical structures, but as a tools for expressing inner experience and ideological positioning. Despite the limitation of analyzing a single statement from one political figure. That is all from Group 4. Thank you very much for listening.